I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the trap of a good enough life. One of psychotherapy's dirty secrets is that the variable that is most reliably predictive of patient improvement is patient misery. This means that the more unhappy, dysfunctional, or miserable people are when they show up for therapy, the more likely they will benefit from therapy. And this kind of makes sense. While life can always get worse, it's more likely that life will get better if life is particularly difficult already. This is called regression towards the mean. Over time, circumstances that are bad tend to improve, kind of on the balance of things. And this means that if you're going through a tough time, the risk-reward profile is in your favor. The worse your life is, the more likely a change will increase the quality of your life, which means low risk, high reward. The issue is that this works in the other direction as well. Now, before I explain the crux of this problem, please like this episode and subscribe to the channel. It takes less than a second, costs you nothing, and has a very favorable risk-reward profile. So do the thing. Now, what's the issue here? The issue is that the better your life is, the more likely a change will decrease the quality of your life. And at the very highest levels of performance, people strive to keep things as solid and consistent as possible. This is because the better your life is, the more unfavorable the risk-reward profile associated with change becomes, which means high risk, low reward. Now, at any given moment, most people aren't in a really bad spot, and even fewer are in a really good spot. In fact, most people are living a good enough life. If we were to give the lives of most people a grade, like in school, they're living a kind of B- life. They look around and they say, okay, it could be better, but it could definitely be worse. And because they're living a good enough life, and because of the principle of regression towards the mean, contemplating a change is risky. I mean, there are more grades below a B- than there are above a B-. So all things being equal, a change is more likely to make the situation worse. That said, there are very few people who are going to feel proud and fulfilled with a B- life. And living a B- life can be associated with neurotic symptoms of anxiety, depression, and quiet desperation. So not taking a risk is also a risk. On some level, a B- life is actually more dangerous than a D+ life. Because, as we've seen, misery is actually highly unstable and very motivating. People in acute pain are much more likely to take action to change their situation, and changing their situation is more likely to result in an improvement because of regression towards the mean. On the other hand, a B- life is pretty stable and does not motivate action, as change in this situation is more likely to result in a depreciation. The D+ life is looking to secure gain. The B- life is looking to prevent loss. As a result, the B- life traps people in inaction with the fear that things could be worse, which is certainly true. But it's also true that inaction won't allow things to get better. A B- life is like standing on 16 in blackjack. If you hit, there's a high chance you're going to bust. If you stand, there's a high chance that you'll be beaten by the house. It's not a great position to be in. The objective here is to live a life that you can look back on without regret. And you cannot live a B- life and achieve that objective. Such a life is exemplary. Achieving that objective requires a response to life that is risky, adventurous, and unconventional. However, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Beware the good enough life. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for listening.